Hey, what's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate Tour Reviews. Today we're taking a look at Roadtech. Now, this is one of those things where I'm going to be like, okay, there's going to be some fun comments on, of course, these reviews for anything Roadtech, because it's one of those things where, like, do jacks need to be electrified? It's kind of my first thought, too. And I got this thing in, and I'm like, okay, we got an electric jack. We have a battery on it. Is this something I really need? And I mean, to be honest, I'm like, this is really dumb when I first got it. But after using it quite a bit, I'm like, this is actually pretty cool because I can get into spots that are tighter now. I can actually be underneath the truck and jacking it up at the same time. I don't need to get out and, be pushing on that lever super hard. It's got some really cool features to it that I actually think is a really cool thing when you want to not necessarily save time, but you're just kind of saving effort and you don't necessarily need to be thinking so much about, the jack. You can quickly lower, raise it, move it around. It's a lot simpler to do. All right, so let's put it head-to-head versus the Daytona jacks. Not in anything performance-wise, because all these jacks are going to do the exact same thing, jack up a vehicle. Now, on my right here is going to be the Daytona. This is their low-profile, long-reach. As you can see, this Supermax jack is also going to be a long-reach jack. This is their Super Duty one, so if you know the Daytona, they also make a Super Duty version of their own jacks. They're designed, of course, for heavy-duty commercial use, being jacked up and down 100 plus times a day for years on end. This is not one of those Daytonas. This is kind of the regular Daytona, the low-profile, long-reach version here. Now, on my left here, this is just going to be the standard Daytona you're going to find at Harbor Freight. This is going to be the 4-ton high-performance version. Of course, you can tell it's a little bit shorter. It's not the long-reach, not the low-profile, but the Shopmax Super Duty is kind of hitting that right in between there. So it's giving you that, still the 3-ton there, but giving that super long reach. It's sort of low profile. I wouldn't really call it as low profile as the Daytona, but it kind of hits all the marks there. I do really like these side handles here because you can quick make adjustments on this jack really easily, whereas the Daytonas, you kind of got to just use this thing and you kind of slide off on that, nice gloss painted surface there. I do like the addition of that. Now, one of the biggest things I did ask Shopmax was I said, hey, did you guys test this out for durability? Because, this is going to break. You're going to break something on these jacks eventually here, especially with having a battery on this thing. And they said, yeah, we did a ton of testing, sent this out to a bunch of shops around the US and said, hey, try to break this thing and see what happens. And that's exactly what they did. So they also got an IPX4 rating on this. And if you're wondering, I have left this out in the rain a couple of times already just to see if it breaks. I want to say, hey, if I just left this thing out in the middle of the driveway, pouring rain, what's going to happen? Nothing happened. It works just fine. No big deals there. So durability, I don't think is necessarily going to be a big issue with this thing. I think one of the issues you're going to find, though, is this Shopmax jack cost me more than these 2 Daytona jacks put together. A lot of the jacks they sell are quite expensive. When you add, of course, a battery and charger, plus, of course, electronics in this thing, and all the safety, which it is ASME certified, you get a lot more expensive of a jack. We're not talking like $100 more. We're talking more like $200-300 more for this thing. So it is a bit of a luxury with what it has, but I think it's pretty cool overall with the time savings and how it is to jack up a vehicle. And let's do that now. Let's put this thing right underneath the truck. We are going to just simply turn it on with the switch there. We've got a green light up here, and all I'm going to do is look under for my frame. Just like that, we're off the ground. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how many lifts am I getting with a charge here? Well, I don't really have an answer for that for you because I've used this thing actually quite a bit over the last few weeks. I get to take the battery down actually, that's it. I took the battery down 1 bar actually filming this now. So I'm at about 4 weeks now of using this jack. I would say at least 5 times a week right now. And I took the battery down by 1 bar. Battery charges up pretty quick on the charger. You can, of course, buy replacement batteries. No, they're not $150 like Makita batteries. They're actually pretty reasonably priced. So if you need an extra battery, it's not a big deal to buy. My biggest question, though, right away was, can I still jack this up manually? No, you cannot. The handle itself is purely just like a joystick. It's not really actually a jack handle. There's no manual jack possible with this. It's all electronic control, which kind of, it'd be kind of cool to have like a hybrid jack you can jack up with electric or by hand if something happens, that'd be kind of cool. safety feature wise, there is some cool stuff on here. There is a little little cable here you can pull that if something happens, say your battery dies, and that you need to lower the jack, of course, you just pull that and the jack goes right down. There's a little tag right here too, easy to get to. That's pretty cool. So they kind of thought of a lot of the stuff. Hey, what could go wrong? Well, let's figure a way how to get around that if it does go wrong. And there you go. Now, one of the questions I asked Roadtech was, hey, has DeWalt, Milwaukee, even maybe Makita heard of this idea? And while I can say they have talked to probably DeWalt and Milwaukee about this, they were not interested in an idea, which kind of stinks. You know, I'd love to see this being like a Milwaukee design or a DeWalt design for these batteries. This is a proprietary design, so there are no battery adapters out just yet, unless you have a 3D printer. But you could 3D print a battery design on this, of course, you know, and probably use your own Makita, DeWalt, Milwaukee batteries if you wanted to. But the Roadtech ones are pretty cheap. Their charger works okay. So I'm not really seeing any issues like, you know, these things being like $200 a battery, anything crazy like that. They want you to, of course, use their batteries, and they want to keep it affordable. But I think this is a pretty tough jack. I think it's definitely going to hold up over time. It's tricky because I see the merit in it. I definitely see how useful it is. Being able to jack up, you know, without actually exerting yourself, it's pretty cool. Just a touch of a button, it works really, really well. I like being able to basically stare at that jack the entire time where that plate is and be able to jack up my truck very safely. I'm not like standing back over here and, you know, guessing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's underneath the frame, right? You know? And as you're jacking up, of course, that can move around a little bit. I feel like it's a lot safer of a way to jack up a vehicle is this way. But of course, price point, you are going to pay for it. It's not like it's like $100 more, $50 more. It's a couple $100 more than just buying a regular Daytona jack. When I say this would replace manual jacks entirely, absolutely not. I think it's a really cool novelty for what it is. I could definitely see more pro shops using this. You know, it's not necessarily going to be like a quicker time-saving way, but I feel like it's definitely going to be a safety thing, and you can kind of do the work of maybe two people jacking up a vehicle and then have something to make sure it's in the right spot, the other person jacking it up. You can now do this with just one person instead. So I see it being more of a safety thing, maybe saving a bit of effort, back strain, and things like that. Especially if you're working from home, you maybe got a more expensive vehicle. You don't want to damage anything with that jack. You want to be very, very precise where that jack point is. This would be the way to go, definitely. Now, if I were to say, hey, what would give this thing more value? If at this price point, you know, it seems like a lot. I would say if we could add something on this thing to maybe say, give me a weight readout on this. You know, when I'm jacking something up, you know, let me know, hey, I'm holding up, you know, 2,460 pounds. That'd be kind of cool. Give me some more features in this thing to really make this thing worth the money. I think it'd be really cool to see. I mean, I think it's a really cool jack by itself, but again, I can tell people in the comments saying, well, why would I pay double for a jack that does the exact same thing that I now have to maintain with batteries if the battery is dead, which is a valid point. I know someone's going to comment that, well, what if my battery is dead? Yeah, you got to charge the battery up first, then you can jack up. With a regular jack, that's not really an issue. Does this jack still, of course, use hydraulics? Of course it does still, too. So, of course, you're going to still have, you know, if it starts leaking hydraulic fluid, well, you got the same issue as a regular jack, of course, there, too. But you just added a whole bunch of electronics now to it as well. So, at the end of the day, kind of in conclusion here, I would say it's a really cool thing. I can definitely see where you'd want to be using this jack. Is it worth it for the everyday kind of guy working on their truck, DIY stuff? Probably not. For the price point, go buy 2 Daytona jacks and save some money, honestly, right there. But if you're looking for a higher-end solution, a more precise, safe solution, I think Roadtech's got it in the bag here. If they can only partner with someone on the batteries, you know, give us a DeWalt name on here, give it a Milwaukee name, Makita name, sell it to Harbor Freight, you know, get it cheaper at Harbor Freight. I think that would be the kind of the good way to go, honestly. But I think there's something here, though. I think we're not there yet, you know. I think we're lacking some value, lacking some price point on this thing yet. But I feel like we're going in the right direction with this new Roadtech jack. I've used it now for a couple weeks now. I absolutely love it. I haven't actually pulled out my Daytona jacks in a while because this thing just works awesome. It's a lot less effort, feel a lot safer using it because I can watch where that jack point is the entire time it's going up. And I can even be underneath the vehicle and still jack it up because look at this. That goes all the way down. I mean, that's pretty cool. You can be up against the vehicle sideways and be able to jack this thing up without having to worry about, you know, where's this pole swinging around. You can be underneath an RV and jacking up the axle with it without having to, you know, jack that handle up and down. As long as you can get that button, you're golden. So, guys, I'll leave a link in the description, guys. You want to check this out from Roadtech. And that's all I've got for you guys. Stay safe out there. Have a great day. Take care.